A lot of great games came out in 2023, and I played none of them. Back in my day, people would make a video game and then release it. Today, in the era of digital distribution, the public release of a retail video game is just one step in the scope of an entire game's development. Sometimes games are just fucking broken at launch. Cyberpunk, Fallout 76, No Man's Sky. But even games that are functional at launch will usually have roadmaps of updates to be rolled out over the next several years. So why spend more money when a game is in its worst state when you can wait and spend less money for a game that's actually finished? So let's get started. Here are the best games I played in 2023. I love Zelda. I've been playing Zelda since I was in my mother's womb, okay? And now that all these classic Nintendo games come with a Nintendo Switch Online, I've been able to play some of the classic Zelda games that I was too young for growing up, like Link's Awakening for the Game Boy. This game is if like David Lynch made a Zelda game. There's so many bizarre elements in it, like the phone booth guy, the chain chomp, the little Kirby enemy. But in other ways, this game was a trendsetter that introduced staple features you'll find in Zelda games that followed it. Mini-bosses? Those are from Link's Awakening. Trading sequences? Link's Awakening. Multiple songs on an ocarina, flying on a chicken, fishing, the camera, an annoying fucking owl. Those are all from this game. Can't believe they managed to fit all that onto a Game Boy cartridge. In Iron Lung, you are alone in a tiny, dilapidated submarine submerged in an ocean of blood. Oh boy. I like a game that does a lot with very little. And Iron Lung is very little. This right here that you see, this is the whole game. You drive the little submarine with this map, you've got no windows, just the sounds of a leaky submarine slowly filling up with nothing but a camera to photograph the outside. It takes like 40 minutes. My two favorite types of games are horror games and detective games. Paradise Killer is a nightmare vaporwave detective game set in a Lovecraftian paradise run by ancient demigods trying to craft the perfect society. But there's been a murder. Despite having one of the most bizarre settings of any video game I've played, there's nothing bizarre about the detective work. You gather evidence, interrogate witnesses, and draw your own conclusions before bringing the case to trial, which you can actually do at any time. You can bring the case to trial immediately after starting it if you want, which is pretty funny, but you'll have a much better time exploring the world for evidence, because this is one of the coolest, most unique video game worlds I've ever played in. The Witcher 3 is big. If you include the DLC, this game has 70 main quests, 200 side quests, 35 Witcher contracts, and 70 treasure hunts. There are 184 swords, 232 armor pieces, 36 potions, 36 oils, and 28 decoctions, most of which have to be crafted from the 212 types of crafting ingredients, but only after finding the crafting recipe. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 magical abilities that can be upgraded through the massive skill tree. You can craft 10 runestones for enchanting swords and armor, and there's 3 types of upgrades you can make to your horse to use in the horse racing league. There's also a fist fighting league, and a card game league because there's an entire trading card game inside this game with over 120 unique cards to collect. The Witcher 3 demands an absurd level of commitment. I logged about 115 hours and only got half the achievements. A completionist run would probably take double that amount of time. It's not just the wealth of content that makes this game good. There are side quests of higher production quality than the Skyrim main quest. You spend most of your time hunting and fighting monsters, and while you can just run in swinging, The Witcher 3 is more about rewarding methodical players who learn everything about a specific monster and then spend the time acquiring the correct potions and oils to fight it. But for me that wasn't really necessary until this motherfucker right here. The driving force of The Witcher 3 is the characters, with intertwining storylines that address themes like sex, war, racism, and at the center of it all is Geralt of Rivia, who allows players to question their own morals in this dark fantasy universe filled with corruption and greed. Team Trust, by the way.